Hello and welcome to Buildings of Tomorrow. My name's John Lester, and in today's episode we're talking about some of the industry's best practice using the BIM approach. In the studio I'm joined by Wolfgang Hass, a principal expert on the BIM topic. Wolfgang, thank you for joining us.
Hello, John.
Can you give us some examples of some of the best practice using the BIM approach today?
Yeah, there are several projects worldwide using BIM, and I have to say BIM state of the art, because there's still not a perfect BIM available, because it's just covering the early phase of the design. I would say there is a big progress made in the construction with BIM, with prefabricated modules and so on. And there are projects worldwide, so it's in America, in Asia, in Europe, and so on. But they're just covering the construction phase. And for the technical equipment, the technical disciplines, we are quite weak up to now. So there's a representation of the geometrical models of our controllers, sensors, actuators, but there's no functional real-time values and so on. That's the next phase. And there are lots of projects really dealing with the first phase, with the geometrics, dealing with 3D, dealing with data models. But there I have to say, it's not a standard data model, it's a company-specific one, an own one, a private description. But it makes sense, because there is no standard today to describe a structure where the data should be stored for my project, because then later on you can transfer this information to the standard. So it's better than doing, let's say, a chaotic approach.
Yeah, of course.
So it makes really sense. And the focus is a little bit different in different BIM projects. So on one hand, it's a focus on 3D, on these modeling, on rendering these models. We have these, we call it Hollywood BIM, these fly through the building, looks good, but let's say the value is more or less for the customer, for the owner of the building to have an impression how it looks like, but we can do much more. And we have some other examples. There was a pilot in Australia, a big mall, where this rendered model was enhanced with actual data coming out of the process. So we could really fly through the building and could see the values, temperatures out of the process. So this was the approach in this project. And so there are different projects focusing on different issues coming up with BIM today.
So for in this example you just talked about, it could absolutely change the way that you view your building through that operation phase.
Yeah, exactly. It's not it's during the design and operation build phase, but also during the operational phase. And we should keep in mind there that the younger generation coming up now, they are quite familiar with this gaming software, and they are used to navigate in 3D in a augmented or virtual reality. They are not used so much to read schemes. And so the approach to find a fault or to work in or to operate a building, the change would be, I think, quite good going this way, to make it more familiar with the younger generation, which are used to have another language, another approach to these data. And so this virtual world will help us.
So is this next generation really driving the real potential of what BIM could be in the future?
Yeah, these are not just the kids which are driving this, it's also the industry, because it's what nobody really thought about 20 years ago. The gaming industry is much more powerful in visualization than the production industry. So we are taking now over parts, elements out of the gaming industry into the building operation to make the visualization of these data.
To make it more powerful and more interactive and intuitive.
Yes.
Okay.
So it's a little bit a merging of these different worlds.
And once you have this visualization or this more native interaction with the data, are there some other things that we're able to achieve by adopting this process?
Yeah, the having this data, that brings us transparency. And transparency, it's so important in having a good view, the right view to this big amount of data. And that's what we have to learn, because it's much more data. which is available in future, and to have the right view, the right filters on these data, and the right representation of these data in these human-machine interfaces in the displays.
Because we know, in general, buildings are becoming more complex and the
Yes.
technology is becoming more advanced. So as you say, the volume of data that we collect is expanding exponentially.
Yeah, but that's a point, and there are statistics around that we made more or less no improvement since 1991, went down in Germany by 4%. And the reason, therefore, is that the buildings became more and more complex, but we haven't adapted any processes. And now with BIM, we have the opportunity to cover this problem, and to be more productive per employee, so the statistic will look better, hopefully.
So we can deliver these more complex buildings, but to the level of quality and at the speed and budget expected.
And we can't stop the complexity, because there is a huge money to earn in buildings, in savings, in bringing in more security and so on. Most of the time, we are in buildings. So we have to invest into buildings, Most of the data in future will come out of buildings, so we have to do something.
I saw a statistic, and they say that we spend 80% of our time in buildings, 80% of our lives, in buildings. So this improvement has to come.
Oh, sure. No question.
Perfect. Thank you very much for your time.
Yeah.
And thank you all for joining us at Buildings of Tomorrow. Please like, share, or comment on this episode and subscribe to us here on this channel. We'll see you again soon.
Thank you.